Hey guys! So today I'm going to do a recap over what we talked about in Chapter 8. Chapter 8 focuses on communicating and collaborating through social media. Clearly, social media is very present in this day and age, and so it's important to know how to use it in ways that benefits your classroom. So first, I want to talk about how teachers can use social networking technologies as teaching and learning tools. Page 186 talks about how computer-mediated communication, which essentially is communication between individuals using technology, can be used inside of the classroom for teaching and learning tools, or it can be used outside of the classroom for communication with other professionals or parents. One way that teachers can use this technology is through social networking. So as it talks about on page 190, a social network can be a public or a private group. So teachers can have the opportunity to pick what group or topic they want to be a part of so that the information maintains its relevance towards them. Page 190 also lists some uses of social networking for an educator. So some examples of this are teacher-to-teacher communication about curriculum or instruction, book groups or literature circles, connecting with educational reform organizations, sharing information about educational research, or group editing on different projects or different writing assignments. Essentially, there are many ways that teachers can use social media and social networking to benefit themselves and their students. Page 190 also gives examples of how teachers can use social media to give instruction after the school day is over. This is becoming increasingly popular as individuals are now having more access to technology inside and outside of the classroom. So a teacher could do this by uploading a PowerPoint or a video or just information for the student to access when they get home. Another way that a teacher could do this or could use social media in their classroom is really just to engage students. Keeping students engaged is clearly one of the most essential and challenging aspects of being an educator. So since students are often familiar with and fond of technology, using these other social media platforms can often add to student interest. Another use of social media is to connect and share information with families. So page 191 talks about how important it is for families to be aware of what's going on inside the classroom and what's going on with their student. So different social networking platforms allow teachers to actually share this information directly with the students' parents in a way that's often easier for both to access. So now I want to talk a little bit about how emailing, text messaging, and Twitter can also serve as information exchanges for teachers and students and parents. So pages 194 and 195 talk about how to effectively use these tools as teachers. In terms of how they differ, email tends to be a more slower paced form of communication. Nowadays, people often have email notifications that go directly towards their phone, but that is not always the case. So emailing is often a form of communication that's used between teachers and students, or teachers to teachers, or parents to teachers. It tends to be a more professional way to communicate, which is why it's often used in those situations. Texting, on the other hand, is a more instant form of communication. Typically, it's reserved for communication between friends or coworkers. But both emailing and texting are private forms of communication, so you can share information that you maybe don't want to go out to the public. Twitter, on the other hand, is often a more public form of communication. It's used mainly to read public messages from other schools, professionals, groups, or individuals, and to share those messages. So now I want to look a little bit about how teachers can enhance communication and learning using blogs. Pages 195 through 197 talk about how blogs are online writing tools that can be used to communicate and share information. So blogs are often free and readily available resources for teachers and educators to use. Teachers can use these to share students' growth or their projects. They can use it to share information and ideas with parents and other educators. It can also be used as a way to kind of keep an online journal about what's going on in your classroom. So maybe materials or lesson plans that worked or maybe didn't work so well. They can also be used as a way to keep parents and guardians updated on what's going on in your classroom so they feel like they know what is going on in different situations. Blogs are good resources because they can be accessed from any computer and they also can be updated regularly so you feel like you have an adequate timeline or updates of what's going on. So lastly, I want to talk about wikis as a collaborative and team-based learning format for teachers and students. So page 201 talks about how a wiki is a website that is created by, edited by, and added to by a number of people in a collaborative effort. So there are many online wiki groups that are for specific information. So for example, there is Wiki Travel, which has lots of travel information. There's WikiHow for all of your how-to questions. And there's Wiki Books, which has an extensive list of open content books. And there are lots of different other wiki resources. So wikis are very helpful with student to student, teacher to student, and teacher to teacher interaction. This is a lot because it focuses on collaboration. So in these situations, every student is needed, or every individual who's involved is needed to add in their information in order for the idea to be complete. So not only that, but wikis track what writing has been done so that teachers can go back and see and make sure that students are adding to it as they should be and that everybody's doing their part. Page 202 and 203 also talk about how essential team-based learning is to further develop communication and teamwork skills in your classroom. So wiki is just a great way to practice these skills. Page 205 talks about how using wikis in your classroom, when you're using them, it's important to be very specific with your directions. So it's important to give students direct roles. It's important to use textbooks and wikis together. It's important to watch for any inappropriate behavior or information that's going on. And it's important to make sure you give your students criteria for what you're expecting for their work. Overall, a wiki can be a very useful tool in adding teamwork skills and different collaborative efforts in your classroom. So I hope that this video was beneficial for you all in looking at how social media can be used in and out of your classroom to further promote communication and collaboration. Thank you.